I'm Alex Rath from Board Game Co, and this is News and Week in Review, where we talk about news pieces, the videos of the week, the games I've covered, all of that and more. Links and timestamps to everything down below. And I've been gone for 2 weeks. I mean, I haven't been gone for 2 weeks. This specific video series, the News and Week in Review, I haven't had it the past 2 weeks, and that's because in March I had a lot of travel. I had 3 conventions. I had Level Up Retreat, I had Dice Tower West, and I had Gamma in the other order. It was Gamma, then Dice Tower West, then Level Up Retreat. Had a bunch of travel in March. Also, I played a lot of Factorio. I'll talk about more of that in an upcoming video. Stay tuned for a video this week. I'll be talking about Factorio. It won't be a review of Factorio. It'll just be me talking about how it's taken over my life again. Anyways, before we dive into this, this channel is sponsored by Allplay. Allplay is a site where you can get a variety of different things. You can get board game bags. Do you know that Allplay has the best board game bags? That is, to be clear, a matter of opinion. Also, it's a matter of opinion from a channel sponsor, so take it with a grain of salt. But also, Allplay bags have been my go-to bag for the past several years. Well before they became a channel sponsor, I've tried a variety of gaming bags, and Allplay generally are the best. They are simple to use, the most consistent. They're solid bags. Highly recommend checking them out if you haven't already. If you go to allplay.com, you can find board game bags and a variety of other things that you'll hear about on other videos on this channel. Anyways, with that, let's go ahead and dive into the news and week in review. There's a bunch of news to go into. I will not be covering the last 3 weeks of stuff that I missed. I have like 1 or 2 pieces from the past 2 weeks that I'll loosely touch upon. But first of all, we have April Fool's jokes. There's been lots of April Fool's jokes this past week, although I will say Everdell Journeys, Tycoon Games decided to announce Everdell Journeys on April Fool's Day, which feels like an interesting choice. This is another Everdell game, and if you are like, dear God, not more Everdell, I hear you. I was with you on the last one, okay? At a certain point, it's too much Everdell. You need to do something new. But I think they're doing something new. Everdell Journeys looks like it's set in the world of Everdell, but being a new Everdell game. That's what I want. I love the world of Everdell. I just don't need 4 versions of the exact same game with minor tweaks. Yes, I know Zombicide. I still only keep 2 or 3 Zombicides, okay? There's a certain point you just need enough of them. Anyways, I'm not saying Everdell Journeys is good. I am saying that I am actually excited about Everdell Journeys because it's a game set in a world that I love that isn't the same game as the last 4. So color me excited for that. Also, lots of other April Fool's Day jokes of things that we definitely want to see. My favorite one is Icecraft. Have you seen the Icecraft one? I'll throw it up over here. But that one by far, or maybe here, one of the sides got that. Anyways, Icecraft looks amazing. I definitely want that to be a game. There are a bunch of others, but to me, Icecraft stood out. And then, of course, Everdell Journeys as a April Fool's announcement, which feels... Is that intentional to really create the buzz of conversation as to whether it's real or not? Or is that just like bad timing that no one thought of? I'm not sure which one. Let me know which one you think in the comments down below. There's an article over on Board Game Wire about CMON potentially returning to crowdfunding, which feels like a mistake. It was kind of a throwaway line, so I'm not quite sure if that's the goal. It was kind of a breakdown of where CMON is, with like a note that maybe they'll return to crowdfunding in 2026, which, hey, I'm a fan of CMON. You know I'm a fan of CMON. I'm not a fan of what's happening with CMON, but I've been a fan of CMON games for a very long time, and it does feel like for them to return to crowdfunding at this point would be a horrible mistake. I think they need to like completely clear their queue, maybe have 1 or 2 games left outstanding, maybe before they dive back into crowdfunding, if they actually want people to take them seriously. But hey, if they do dive into crowdfunding, maybe we'll talk about it, but we shall see what happens there. Altered TCG shut down, with something that I guess I was not surprised by this. I'm surprised this wasn't the obvious conclusion. After their last campaign, they basically said, hey, we need $2.5 million every single set in order for this to be sustainable. And they barely got $2.5 million then. I don't see how it would possibly maintain its sustainability while they're publicly announcing how uncertain this TCG is to invest in. And sure enough, it didn't get $2.5 million. It looked like they were on track to get like 1.8, maybe something like that. But they're like, nope, we need $2.5 million. That's the number we need. And they weren't going to get it. But they need to do that 4 times a year. They need to get $2.5 million. So Altered is no more, unfortunately. Altered TCG shut down. There's a whole article on the site you can check out as far as they are sunsetting it very gracefully with a lot of like room, offering print and play things, doing a bunch of things that are very nice for the player base that you can play it on Board Game Arena. But if you were an Altered fan, this might be sad news for you, and I'm sorry about it. So speaking of crowdfunding stuff, this is a record crowdfunding week with a ton of, this has been like the most money I've seen in crowdfunding in a single week in a long time. This is obviously Cyberpunk trading card game, blowing it out of the water over on Kickstarter. There's Slay the Spire, Slay the Spire Downfall, doing tremendous numbers, over 4 million. We have Brass over 4 million. Brass Pittsburgh, over 4 million. We have the Here to Slay, looks like it's going to cross 4 million almost certainly. It's already crossed 3.5 million or whatnot. Old King's Crown ended at around 3 million. Company of Heroes at 1 million. There's like a ton of campaigns pulling absolute insane numbers. This is the most money I have seen in Tabletop in a single week in possibly forever. Possibly, I don't know if I've ever seen this much money in crowdfunding actively at the same time in a single week, and the numbers are only going to get higher. I mean, by the time Brass, Slay the Spire, and Here to Slay end, they'll all be in the $5 to $8 million range. That's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of campaigns. So I don't know which ones you're backing. What's interesting, by the way, is the overlap between these audiences. I mentioned like 5 games, I think. The overlap between those audiences is far fewer than you might expect. In fact, do me a favor, comment down below if you're backing at least one of these, but more than one. I guess I'm asking for too many comments. I was going to say, do what you want as far as commenting, but specifically, if you're backing 2 of these, comment down below. I'd be very curious, because we have Cyberpunk TCG. That's a TCG market, whole different conversation. We have Slay the Spire, which the audience overlap between Slay the Spire and Brass does exist, but I imagine it's small. Here to Slay is targeting a whole different gateway audience. The Old King's Crown and Brass, that definitely has a lot of overlap there, because that's like a heavy Euro audience, so I can see that. Deluxeification, heavy Euro, that's where I assume the biggest overlap is. And then Company of Heroes is also a very different type of game as well. So again, like all of these campaigns, and I think Old King's Crown and Brass likely have the highest overlap, and the rest are probably like not people backing the same one more than one of them, other than those 2 I mentioned. Anyways, that's what we have for news, which brings us to the videos of the week. The videos of the week this past week, we had a ranking of all the Legacy games I played. No, I have not played Risk Legacy. There were a few others people mentioned. I have not played Risk Legacy. Oh, Gloomhaven and Frosthaven got like a lot of comments. Gloomhaven and Frosthaven are admittedly legacy games. I think of it as more campaign games, but they are legacy games. I'll acknowledge the point. I just think of them as campaign games. Then we had 10 games I played myself out of liking. That was a video that went up this past Friday. Basically, speaking of Gloomhaven and Frosthaven, they were in there. I was going over 10 games that I liked a lot, but the more I played them, it wore down on how I liked them. Some of them took like 10 plays to get there. Some of them took 100 plays to get there, but it's specifically that aspect where playing a game more made me like it less. And not that I got bored of it over time. Specifically, I liked it less as I played it more. There are a bunch of games in that. If you're interested in which games wore on me a bit more, that's a video of those. As far as the games we covered this past week, we had a bunch. We had a preview and gameplay for The Great Sea, and a preview and gameplay for Towers of Sifnos. Both of these were sponsored content. I generally give my thoughts in the week in review on sponsored content we've done. I think The Great Sea was very satisfying. I thought it was a very good game as far as managing the temple track as well as your economy or war. Lots of pathways to try to pursue it in. I hated the stacks of tiles. Now, granted, there was a filmed gameplay which made it even worse, but the tile management stack, it needs like a token tray or something for it. Trying to move around full stacks of tiles just was slightly irritating to do, but the gameplay itself was very satisfying. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5, tentatively. Towers of Sifnos, again, is another one that I liked. I felt that the game we played dragged on a little too long, which is interesting, because at the very beginning of the game, I thought it was going to be over very, very soon, but then we started picking up the pacing of our building things out instead of triggering the various invasions, and that really slowed down the game. That's one where I do need more plays of this. Specifically, I only played it at 2 players, and I do think that one needs 3 and 4 players to be better. Like, The Great Sea was a 3-player game. I do think it benefits from that being that. Towers of Sifnos at 2 was fine. It would be a 3.5 out of 5, but I think it probably would be a 4 if I was playing it as a 3 or 4 player game. Then we had Storyfold Wildwoods. We had a single player gameplay of Storyfold Wildwoods, diving into chapter 2 of it. I did the first chapter. There was a filmed solo Sunday video. There was also a review video for Gods and Mortals. Gods and Mortals, really enjoyable game that, to me, the biggest thing I like about it most was the asymmetric god powers and exploring the game differently. But ultimately, it's a stock-taking game where the stocks are the nations of the world. You're investing into populations, trying to grow them in order to cash out your divinity and reinvest it into some other population, basically ransacking your previous worshippers, which is thematically appropriate. But overall, the gameplay itself was pretty fine. The asymmetric powers to lean into, that was easily the best part for me. There was a review for Escape Comics, The Alien Ship. It's an escape room game. I like escape room games. It had nice bits, it has things. It doesn't really compare to games like, the Emerald Flame and all of those games, but it is a very solid game. If you like that genre, I think you'll enjoy it. And then lastly, we had a review for Petal. Petal is a small box game, part of a game Garden Club and Petal. It's a 2-part Kickstarter campaign, but Petal is definitely the one I enjoyed more. I will have a review for you on Garden Club, but I like Petal a lot. Give it a 4 out of 5, tentative 4 out of 5. There's small aspects as far as the ability cards, but I think they'll probably clean it up. But I have to be mindful that tentative is tentative. So a 3.5 at a minimum, probably a 4 out of 5 depending. It's a prototype. Sometimes I give asterisks around my reviews just in case. Anyways, those are the reviews we had this past week on the channel, which brings us to, what do we have? The games I played. A bunch of games I played this past week. We had Shallow Sea. I've been playing a bunch of that. I got multiple games with Shallow Sea, and I hope to be diving into it more this week. That's why it's on the table over here. We'll come back to that. But I still think it's phenomenal. I think Shallow Sea is a lot of fun. Really enjoying it, both the base game, solo play, the expansions, all of that. I've been playing Carson City as well as Keyflower. And honestly, Carson City I think I still enjoy, but I wonder if I enjoyed as much as I used to. And then Keyflower has not been holding up for me, unfortunately. I got several plays of it in recently, and I like it, but it doesn't have that love that I've had for it when I first played it years ago. Keyflower is, yeah, not as good as it used to be. It's better in my mind from the original times I've played it. Anyways, those are some of the games I've played this past week, and that brings us to today. Today we'll have a few things. We will have a 5 family-friendly games review video going up for the channel, as well as a review for Graft from IV Studios. We'll have a review for Graft going up later today. Next week we'll have a bunch of things. We'll have the games leaving and being added to the collection for April. We'll have a Where Are They Now for April, as well as lots of crowdfunding reviews and some, I think there's some sponsored content, but more reviews going up this week for like Goa, for we have, what do we have? We have Goa, we have Onward coming up. We have one more. There's Goa, Onward, and and the Malice of Light. The relaunch for Malice of Light will be going up as well. In any case, then until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you have an excellent week, and as always, I hope you have a good one.